Welcome back, everybody. My name is All Fun and Games. I stream every day on Twitch TV, and I also make fun little videos here on YouTube. Today, we're going to be talking about the difference between a miner hat and a Moggles. As I've previously showed how my preference between a lantern and a miner hat in a previous video that I had, let's now talk about miner hats and Moggles. Well, first, in order to acquire a miner hat, we all know what we need to get. Straw hat, which is literally just grass, nothing at all. 1 gold, which is literally nothing. And of course, getting a firefly, which requires you to get a bug net in order to actually go out and catch yourself a firefly. So not the hardest thing in the world to do, but also not the easiest, as you definitely need to, get some resources before you can get that. In order to get a bug net, we all know what you need to do. It requires just 2 silk, some 4 twigs, and of course some easy rope, which is nothing. Silk's very easy to come by just going and killing a few spiders. So what are the bonuses behind getting a miner hat? Well, we all know with a miner hat, once you have it, you can easily refill it using a light bulb and other different resources to do so. I mean, light bulbs are super easy to get as you go into the caves, and there's an abundance of them down below. Now, miner hats are great, don't get me wrong, I really do love them, and I use them pretty much all the time. However, there's another option, and that is obviously using Moggles. Now, Moggles are a different story, and sometimes are more preferred by players, as of course, with Moggles, you get the full distance everywhere. So it's as if you're basically seeing pure night vision, and you can see literally everything. Here, when it becomes nighttime in a few seconds, you'll see the true belief of actual Moggles, and why I don't really use them that often, but probably should. But let's talk about Moggles and let's go from there. In order to acquire Moggles, you need to get 2 mole worms and of course 2 electric doodads, which are fairly simple, and 1 regular glowberry, which can be obtained in the caves. Mole worms are fairly easy to find as long as you find them, digging up different areas. You can follow them and use a shovel in order to bump them on the head, and then of course keep them alive in order to acquire them. Not the easiest thing in the world, and of course it depends on the player that you are if you want to use them, because unfortunately with Moggles, they actually die down fairly quick. Of course, you can see the difference of basically a day and a half compared to using your miner hat, which is, not as long, I guess, depending on if you can really compare the two. But in the long run, Moggles are, in my opinion, a little bit better, as they do give you a lot more distance, especially when you're traversing the caves. If you're using them above ground, I don't really think it's that necessary, as you can see the distance on a miner hat and or even a lantern for that matter are exactly identical. Well, not really, but semi-identical. And so in my opinion, using one or the other is fine above ground. But if you're in the caves, I would really suggest using Moggles, as it will give you some distance and trying to measure, okay, there's some clockworks over here or whatever. The only problem is that, of course, with Moggles is you have to use glowberries in order to obviously refuel them, as you cannot use light bulbs in order to do so. So when you get glowberries, you can go and refuel them, and of course, it just makes the Moggles last even longer, back to a day and whatever. Now, pretty cool nonetheless, but unfortunately with Moggles, as I mentioned before, they do require 2 mole worms and the doodads, which are not very inexpensive, and of course, a glowberry, which is actually the least expensive thing in my opinion. But if you make a moleworm farm, you can easily get a few of these things and not actually have a problem. So, in your opinion, tell me what you think below in the comments. Do you think you prefer using a set of Moggles and or using a set of a miner hat? In my opinion, I love the miner hat. I use it all the time, and it's very easy to acquire. And honestly, light bulbs are so good because, in my opinion, light bulbs last a very long time. As you can see, they last 2 days and 2.8 segments. Glowberries do last a while before they go stale, so you're probably a little bit better, depending on what you want to do. But the bonus about getting light bulbs is they, of course, you have abundance down in the caves, which are very easy to get in most cave entrances. So even if you don't want to go deep into the caves, once you open up an actual cave entrance, you can pretty much find light bulbs right away as soon as I go deep down inside the cave. So in my opinion, my winner is, of course, the miner hat over a lantern and a Moggles. But if I had to choose in order, I would go miner hat, Moggles, and then, of course, a lantern at the very least. And then, we go from there with obviously using a torch and blah, blah, blah. But anyways, thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next one.